time unfolding is in Lebanon. They've found weapons being smuggled in, a big ship full, and there's been fighting, and the Lebanese army is trying to side with the Syrians, really. I wonder if you can see, predict, or have an insight into the unfolding events there.
Well, I'm happy that we are beginning with this subject, Morris, because on the occasion of the last interview, I did make the statement that I considered some of those, not all, who were in armed rebellion against the regime in Syria, I consider them to be terrorists. And that statement of mine has provoked some responses from people who felt the sting of it. I have no regrets of having made that statement. Those who are in alliance with the Zionists, either directly through NATO or indirectly through Saudi Arabia, through Qatar and other states or allies of the Zionists, and who are being funded and armed directly and indirectly by the Zionists in their armed insurrection against the Syrian regime, and who are committing acts of violence and slaughter, acts of terrorism, which using any yardstick qualify as terrorism, must be identified as terrorists, and I make no apologies for that statement, that they are terrorists, and they must be condemned as terrorists. The news that arms are being shipped into Syria through Lebanon, as you just mentioned, does not surprise me. I think Turkey has played perhaps the dirtiest role of all. And this is not the language that I normally would use, but I have to use this language now. It's a dirty role being played by Turkey, and someone has to stand up and tell the Turkish government that to their faces, that arms and ammunition have been infiltrated into Libya the same way. And the purpose was to bring down the Libyan regime, which was a regime which was an obstacle in the path of the Zionists. And the same thing now in Syria, so that the Arab Spring could be revisited. It happened 100 years ago, as I said to you in Paris. And now again, so that regimes which are friendly to the Zionists, or pliant with the Zionists, can now replace like those in Libya and in Syria. So we are seeing a return to the Arab Spring, and we know that on this occasion the outcome is going to be different. On the last occasion, it was a walkover. They achieved all their objectives, and they were able to establish a state of Israel in the Holy Land, and consequence of that first Arab Spring. But on this occasion, their stakes are much higher. On this occasion, they're doing these things so that they can cause the state of Israel to become the ruling state in the world, replacing the United States of America. This is a branch of knowledge that is known as eschatology. And I am speaking from Islamic eschatology. And those who know me would know that I've been expressing these views for the last 15, 20 years. That Israel is now going to make an effort, or the Zionists are now going to make an effort to cause the state of Israel to replace the United States of America as the ruling state in the world. The difference between the first Arab Spring and this Arab Spring is a man named Putin and a country named Russia. And I have a Russian student here with me here tonight. He's a student at the International Islamic University. The Deputy Prime Minister of Spain, the former Deputy Prime Minister of Spain, revealed a few days ago a conversation that he had with Putin, I don't know how many years ago. He must have taken it out of a museum. That he spoke to Putin about the sale of Russian missiles to Iran and was trying to convince Russia not to sell those missiles to Iran. And he says that Putin said, don't worry about that. Israel will take care of Iran. Those were his words. Well, I think they have a surprise coming their way if they think that Israel and Putin are friends of each other. Because on this occasion, the attack is not only on Syria, and they've not been able to succeed in Syria largely because of Russia and China. The attack is also on Iran. And because they are so obstinately, and I choose my language carefully, they have a pig-headed obsession of ruling the world. The implication is that regardless of consequences, even if it's going to be nuclear war, even if millions and millions and millions are going to die, Israel is not going to be hindered. They're going to continue pig-headedly with the effort to subdue Iran and Pakistan and Egypt and Syria. And in the process, they're going to cross a line. And when they cross that line, they're going to confront Putin. That's the comment I want to make.
You mentioned Turkey just now. There is a man quoted as being an Islamic leader in America called Gulen, and he is said to be influencing the Turkish policies. Are you familiar with this man?
I am familiar with the game plan. I am familiar with the game plan. But Morris, in the Quran, Allah says that they plan their plan, and I plan my plan, and mine is a better plan. I want to share with you now one of the prophecies of Prophet Muhammad, Allah's blessings be upon him, that the viewing audience will be fascinated with. He said about the end time, he said that at that time, when Jerusalem will be flourishing, and Jerusalem is now flourishing, Jerusalem is now center stage in the affairs of the world. He said at that time when Jerusalem would be flourishing, Umran no Baytul Maqdis, at that time the city of Medina, where the Prophet is buried, which used to be called Yathrib, at that time that city would be in desolation, meaning playing absolutely no role whatsoever in world affairs or in the affairs of the world of Islam. And that's where the city of Medina is today. So he's talking about today. So at that time when Jerusalem is flourishing, Yathrib or Medina would be in a state of desolation. At that time, he said, the Great War will occur. And that Great War is going to lead to the conquest of Constantinople. And so the conquest in 1455, I believe, of the city of Constantinople by the Ottoman Turks was a flash in the pan. It's not the one that's coming. The one that's coming is the one that's prophesied. And when that conquest of Constantinople takes place, of course, the implication will be that NATO will be thrown out. And if NATO is thrown out of Constantinople, that's to Russia's advantage. When Constantinople is conquered, he said, that is the time when the Antichrist will make his appearance, meaning make his appearance in our world of space and time, in the form of a human being. And so Turkey has a prominent role to play in world affairs and in the affairs of the Muslim world in the very near future. And in Turkey, it is the city of Constantinople that's going to be center stage. I believe it was because of this prophecy that Mustafa Kemal and his secular Turkish nationalists decided to change the name of the city from Constantinople and to give it one of the other names that it used to have, namely Istanbul. So I know about the game plan from the United States, from the Turkish community in the United States. And I know about the link between that one and the present government in Turkey and the party which has brought this government into being. But they plan their plan, and the God above plans his plan. And as soon as Israel launches her attack, and NATO participates in it, on Syria, on Iran, on Pakistan, and on Egypt, I have been saying that there is going to be a very strong negative reaction in Turkey, and it is going to provoke civil war. You are aware of these views of mine, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes.